Cops call for info on American man's murder in Moneague, St. Anne.
The street and police are appealing to the public to provide information relative to Monday night's robbery and murder of an American man in Moneague, St. Anne. The deceased is 43-year-old Gregory McIntosh, a taxi operator of Flatland Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, United States. McIntosh was visiting relatives in the parish while on vacation in Jamaica. Report from the St. Anne's Bay police are that about 8 p.m. on Monday, McIntosh was at a relative's house when 4 gunmen allegedly entered and robbed him of several items, including an undetermined sum of cash and jewelry. Residents later heard explosions and summoned the police. On their arrival, McIntosh's body was seen inside the house with multiple gunshot wounds. He was later pronounced dead at hospital. In urging persons to come forward with any information they have on the murder, head of the St. Anne Police, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, said the police are pursuing all the leads they have so far.
Welcome to Grung TV, the entertainment hub for news, views, reviews, and gossip. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.
Boogery, abortion laws won't be impacted by constitutional reform.
Cabinet Minister Robert Morgan has said there will be no disturbance to the current laws on boogery and abortion as part of the pending reform of Jamaica's constitution. The government has not articulated that this constitutional reform process will disturb such wide ranges of issues, declared Morgan, the minister without portfolio in the Office of Prime Minister (OPM), with responsibility for information on Wednesday. The disclosure at a virtual and face-to-face post-cabinet press briefing came amid recent calls by some church groups and the Jamaica Coalition for Healthy Society for the removal of Canadian professor Richard Albert from the Constitutional Reform Committee, CRC, based on his pro-LGBTQ and pro-abortion bias and advocacy. Albert, with experience in modernizing constitutions in a number of countries, is a trained scholar of world constitutions, constitutional reform and constitutional replacement. He is currently a law professor at the University of Texas in the United States. Morgan said he had taken note of conversations in the public domain regarding Albert's appointment to the CRC. The issue that consumes the conversation, in the public domain, is not a matter that is being contemplated by the government, Morgan reiterated. Our intention, as articulated by the Prime Minister, is pretty much to focus on the republic status of Jamaica, he added. Morgan further stated that no one person on the committee will be able to impose or dominate with his or her views on the body. He said the persons appointed to the CRC are representatives of a wide cross-section of the society, such as members of the church, the youth, members of the opposition People's National Party, PNP, constitutional lawyers, and members of the government. I think that in bringing the committee together, the government was very cognizant of getting the views of a wide cross-section of society, including the church, and I don't suspect that there will be anyone who can dominate a debate or a conversation on the committee, Morgan indicated. He said this is so because the members of the CRC are very strong individuals of intellect, competence and consequence. So, just generally speaking, Jamaicans can be assured that the committee was formed in the best interest of our society for its better future, the minister stated. Morgan disclosed that Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs and co-chair of the committee, Marlene Malaho-Forte, will address the issues relative to the committee when she returns from overseas.
Illegal migration threatening strength of Jamaican passport.
Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the government is deeply concerned about the number of Jamaicans using the Central American route to illegally enter the United States. Johnson-Smith urged adult Jamaicans to desist from the practice, which she said, in some cases, exposes the children they choose to take on such illegal expeditions to kidnapping, human trafficking, and even death. She also said the practice affects the strength of the Jamaican passport. We are trying to be proactive and bring to the attention of Jamaicans that this is not a good decision to take, warned Johnson-Smith in reference to illegal migration. It is extremely risky for you personally, but it also affects the reputation of our passport, which we have been working hard at strengthening, she added. The minister was speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday, during which she also disclosed that more than 2,300 Jamaicans have been refused entry or deported from Mexico and Panama since 2018. In breaking down the data provided by the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, Johnson Smith said 143 Jamaicans were refused entry to Mexico between 2018 and March 31, 2023. In the case of Panama, for the same period, 2,167 Jamaicans were refused entry and 81 Jamaicans deported from Panama, she outlined. The senator reminded that there are no direct flights to Mexico, so Panama is the route, both to Mexico and to Belize. She added, Panama is, therefore, that very first point of entry, and they have clearly implemented heightened immigration surveillance. While Belize has given similar immigration-related data to the ministry, it has not yet been validated by PICA, according to Johnson Smith. I would like to repeat, no restrictions have been imposed on Jamaicans traveling to Belize, but it is clear that the concern regarding illegal transit through that country is being considered at the highest level, she said. Meanwhile, Johnson Smith reiterated that the government is quite clear and confident that the majority of Jamaican travelers to these locations are lawful and are traveling for legitimate purposes. She said, too, that the number of Jamaicans being denied entry or deported from these countries is comparatively smaller to other citizens from other countries using Central American routes to try to transit elsewhere. While our numbers are relatively small, we do not want the immigration experience of our lawful travelers to get worse. We want our athletes, our entrepreneurs, we want our family members, we want just the ordinary Jamaican travelers looking to exercise their right to travel, to do so without difficulty, in comfort and dignity, and part of that is, for our fellow citizens taking sound decisions about traveling lawfully, Johnson Smith urged. She emphasized that it is within every country's right to protect its borders and to determine who may or may not enter their country, even though persons traveling legally are affected by such decisions. The government of Jamaica, however, does continue to consult at varying levels with our partners in Belize, Mexico, and Panama, Johnson Smith stated.
332 gun and drug arrests, including seizures, up to March. Anderson.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reporting 332 arrests and major seizures of illegal guns and drugs during the first quarter of the year. In addressing a recent virtual press conference, Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, said for the period January to March there were 2 major gun seizures at the ports. These, he said, included a shipment of 22 guns in January and 59 in February. A total of 225 illegal guns were seized for the quarter, Anderson said. This represents the highest number of seizures since 2017. Additionally, 238 persons were arrested and charged for gun-related offenses over the period, he stated. Also, 1,563 kilograms of cocaine and 4,204 kilograms of ganja were seized over the period, and 94 persons were arrested and charged for drug-related offenses. Major General Anthony Anderson, file photo. Anderson said work will continue to build the capacity of detectives to investigate gang-related matters, noting that a multi-agency approach has been taken with respect to the applicable training. The commissioner informed that 60 personnel recently participated in an anti-gang training course, which was aimed at strengthening the capacity of the law enforcement community to investigate, prosecute, and ultimately secure convictions in organized crime cases. The anti-gang training course was undertaken in collaboration with the National Center for State Courts and the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs in the United States, U.S. Anderson said of the 60 participants, 40 were drawn from the JCF and others from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, the Department of Correctional Services, DCS, the Victim Support Division of the Justice Ministry, and the Financial Investigations Divisions, FID. We believe that this training will lead to even more arrests and convictions in the future as we continue to disrupt the criminal organization, he said.